Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to your Packers Daily Chat, coming to you live on the Cheesehead TV social channels. It is Wednesday. The Packers are back on the practice field, and whoo, baby, is there a doozy of an injury list to start off the week. Packers listing a whole boatload of people, including quarterback Aaron Rodgers, who did not practice today, along with David Bakhtiari and a slew of others. Packers are a walking mash unit, no doubt about it. Juggling a lot of things heading into this game against Dallas. Already a formidable challenge. The Cowboys coming into Lambeau Field on Sunday. All of these injuries certainly not going to make anything any easier. A bit of news, tiny bit of news, breaking a little bit before we went live here. Packers have claimed safety Jonathan Abram off waivers from the Raiders, a former first-round pick back in 2019, fallen out of favor. I know the Raiders looked pretty abysmal on defense against the Jaguars. Don't know if this is a direct correlation. They're cutting Abram off of that performance, but I know he has not played well this season. The Packers needing safety help, needing help in the secondary, really, after the Stokes injury, subpar play from Savage. I would suspect, yes, he has special teams experience. I do not doubt for a moment that Rich Bisaccia either signed off on this or said, hey, this would be a good idea to utilize him on teams, at least initially, and maybe provide some depth. I doubt they put him out there in any meaningful way with some expansive packages or anything. But, guy, tail end of his rookie contract, see what a change of scenery does for him. Maybe he's asked to do a few different things in Green Bay than he was in Las Vegas, and that unlocks something. You never really know, but if nothing else, it's good to get some secondary depth. A guy who's clearly physically talented, just hasn't been able to put it together so far in his NFL career. Hello to everybody in the comments. Good to see everybody. What's up, Dale? Good afternoon from New York. I hope you're well. David, thanks for the super chat. Abram, happy or sad? It's just an addition. I'm not either. Believe it or not, everybody, personnel moves do not need to be, adjudicated within 30 seconds of their happening. I just think it's a move that makes sense. He adds a little bit of depth at a position and in a group where they could definitely use some help. Like I said, former first-round pick. He's an athlete, and he's played a lot of ball in the league. Clearly, a decision was made in Las Vegas to move on, but that doesn't mean he can't be utilized in a different way and to greater effect in Green Bay. We'll see. Made of Clay, thanks for the super chat. Hey, Nags, did you see Kurt Warner's study ball today? His breakdown was somewhat acquitting of 12 and an indictment on the receiver play. Thoughts? Ooh, yeah. We talked about this a bit on and sorry, I've done so many podcasts this week and so many radio hits. We talked about it on Let's Talk Football, Andy and I, and we talked about the really troubling receiver tape that was put out there on Sunday. Don't get it twisted. They are working with a lot of moving parts out there, and the receivers have not been up to snuff. But acquitting of 12, I think that's a bit harsh, or that's a bit exaggerated. I mean, Kurt Warner is always going to be acquitting of the quarterback. But, the receiver play has not been great. There's no doubt about that. John, thanks for the super chat. Rodgers hasn't been playing the best. We can all agree. He just isn't used to not having guys that make catches on his throws that aren't great throws. We need him to play better, but he needs help too. I very much agree, John. That's something we talked about on Beer and Ball. If you listen to that podcast, it's one thing to, have frustrations with your receivers, running wrong routes, making mental mistakes, etc. But, where it's really kind of hurting them is there are plenty of times, and we talked about this on Happy Hour last night, where, Rodgers in recent Rodgers, I'm not even talking, vintage, height of his powers in his prime Rodgers. Recent Rodgers has had plenty of balls that have been a little bit off, a little behind a guy, maybe down low, etc. But he's had guys clean that up, whether that's been Devontae or MVS or anybody else. There have been plenty of guys who have gone and done the dirty work and reached down that extra whatever is necessary and snag the ball. And the perfect example is the Toure incompletion that everybody got on Rodgers for, barking afterwards. But as I said on Dale, I don't care. Like, he's frustrated, and I get it. But that's a ball that 100% in the past Jordy or Devontae or any number of guys, they work back a little bit, they bend their route back a little bit, and they help their quarterback out, and they get down low and they catch that. There's no doubt they are missing that this year with this group. There is no question about it. Absolutely. Mario, thanks for the super chat. Carry the motherfucking G. Packers by 7. Okay, Mario. I see you. I like it. I like where your head's at. Do they cut Bakhtiari this offseason? That's a tough one. Got to think there's a chance, though. The way his contract is situated, I think there's 3 days after the start of the new league year, there's a pretty significant bonus due, if I recall. I'm doing this off the top of my head, so forgive me. I can go look later, but yeah, there's definitely a chance. Do I think it's an automatic? No. I think a lot of it's going to depend on how things work with his knee and his availability throughout the season and how they manage that and what he feels like coming off the season. Undoubtedly, he and the Packers will sit down and have a talk about that, but it'd be foolish to say, no, there's no chance. I think there's definitely a chance. Bill, thanks for the super chat. Rodgers underthrowing a lineman has to be rock bottom, right? Not even close. Bill, go listen to my talk with John Kuhn earlier this week. Not even close. It could get so much uglier. We're not even close to rock bottom, people. Joe, thanks for the super chat. Last time Packers played and beat the Cowboys without Devontae, Aaron Jones had 4 rushing TDs and led the Packers in rushing and receiving. Just a thought. I remember it well. That was down in Dallas. That was the famous waving goodbye on the touchdown run. That was that game. Yeah, can it be done? Sure. No problem. No question about it. Now, it was a different defensive scheme that they're facing and different personnel for the most part. But yes, utilizing Aaron Jones as the focal point of your offense. What a concept. Only been calling for it since August. But we'll see. They'll probably focus on Alan Lazard. Does it seem with Abram being picked up, does that mean no contract extension for Amos? No, Chris. That the two are not related. Don't forget, Abram is in the last year of his rookie deal. So maybe if he balls out, do they extend him? Yeah, possibly. But more than anything, this is a rental and a look-see. And he's got to do a lot just to, stay on the squad for next year and be brought back. So no. The Amos thing is very separate. Sir Alex, thanks for the super chat. Marlboro Reds? No, Aaron Jones is the true cowboy killer. There you go. Well, you got to give Rodgers his due as well. Rodgers has absolutely murdered them in that building for years. And in Lambeau, it's been a little different. Cheesehead TV meetup at Lambeau this Sunday. No, not at Lambeau and not this Sunday. But you can meet Corey at the Plaza Pit Stop. That's right, the Plaza Pit Stop at the Resch Center, right across the street from Lambeau Field. They will have Carry the G, the official beer of Cheesehead TV, for purchase. And if you are a Patreon member or a Carry the G Club member here on YouTube, just show that to Corey on your phone, and he'll buy you a can of Carry the G. That's 3 hours before kickoff. 3 hours before kickoff on Sunday. Be at the Plaza Pit Stop and say hi to Corey. But no, there's no Cheesehead TV meetup. What else we got, folks? Why in the hell is Bakhtiari running routes when you can't even stay healthy? Bad decisions all around. Okay, well, can we stop with this? I mean, I was listening to Ryan Wood's question to Matt about this on Monday. Like, running route. He's not running a route. Like, he's on the goal line and he's got to get in the end zone. That's hardly running a route. He's not out there running a corner post or something. You guys make it sound like he's like exerting. He's trying to like run a marathon or something. Homeboy had to take like 3 steps. He's hardly running a route. He's not trying to shake someone off the line of scrimmage. He's not like trying to get off press man. Let's just slow our roll here. Look, do I love that call in that situation? No. But let's stop pretending like David had to do much other than pretend to block initially and then roll out and just turn around. And if there's anything close to a decent ball thrown to him, he's scoring a touchdown and spiking it, and he's having fun with his friends, and we're all cheering. But Aaron Rodgers screwed that up, didn't he? I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter that I saw them work on that play Matt's first summer in town. Back then, they threw it to McCoy. But, they hung on to it for 4 years. And then they run it in that situation? in a game that is do or die for their season, basically. They're on the goal line. It's 4th down, and you run that play? The hubris, I tell you. Brandon, thanks for the super chat. Does Rodgers' thumb impact decision to go under center at all? Well, if you listen to Matt LaFleur from a couple weeks ago, it had been. Now, presumably, things have been getting better because we'd seen him under center more, especially in that Buffalo game. But now that he's hurt it again, I would suspect, yeah, they'll probably be back in shotgun a whole hell of a lot more once again. It's my birthday tomorrow. Thanks for everything you do, man. Callum, thank you so much, and happy birthday, brother. Hope you're doing well. Nags, I'm nervous. Heading to Green Bay tomorrow. We'll be there for the game. Can't wait to enjoy Cheesehead TV beer. Edward, what are you nervous for? Man, the Packers are playing with house money now for the rest of the season. No one expects them to win anything. Hell, half the fan base has already given up on the season. You know, the big bad Cowboys are coming to town. Like, just go. Have a great time. The vibe will be awesome. Lambeau's always great, at least pregame. We'll see. Hey, Nags. Oh, I've got an audition for small mouth sounds. I don't know what that is. In a little over an hour. Any audition advice? Just remember that they usually make their decisions, whether they want to work with you or not, within like 30 seconds of you walking in the door. Just be yourself and be relaxed. I mean, do your bit, whatever they ask you to do, if you're doing a reading or a monologue prepared or whatever, but the decision's been made. And don't ever, ever forget, especially if it's something like an extended run, if you're going on a tour or something, I don't know how long this will be, but they have to decide whether they want to be with you day in and day out for like weeks and months. So don't be a jerk. And I know you're not going to be, but, you know, that's part of the decision making. It's like, do I want to hang out with this person for the next month, 2 months, whatever? But yeah, most decisions are made. Casting directors will tell you, most decisions are made 30 seconds after you walk in the door. So just be yourself, do your thing, and you'll be great. Bill, thanks for the super chat. With how open Bakhtiari was, maybe he should run routes. I love it. Attorney Cooper is up in here predicting a W against Dallas. Let's go. Come on, Attorney Cooper. That's what I'm talking about. Keep a little optimism here. Vex, thanks to the super chat. Should the Packers have refused to trade Devontae? Ooh, baby. What does that look like? He demands a trade. You put the franchise tag on him. And then you don't trade him. You don't acquiesce to his demands. You do offer him all this money. Now, here's the thing. Here's the little nugget that no one ever really talks about, because everyone talks about the contract and how, the Raiders paid him all this money. And then the comeback is always, well, the Packers offered more and he turned it down. Okay, in like the totality of the contract, yes, that is true. But what were the guarantees in the structure of that contract? Because that was always the hang-up. That's the whole reason he never signed a contract extension the previous summer. So unless the Packers are going to come off of that, getting guaranteed money in those first couple years of the deal, which they don't ever do, well, then you've got a long, protracted holdout on your hands. Because Devontae wasn't stepping in that door unless they acquiesced to those demands, which the Raiders did. So is that better? And then how long does that last? And then you don't have the extra draft capital. And then you've got a really unhappy dude whenever he walks back through the door. I don't know, man. I don't know. Best things to do before a Packers game, heading to the Titans game next week and going for my first NFL game. Your first one ever? That's dope. Well, that's an Amazon game too. So I know they're doing some kind of special pregame stuff, some special tailgating events around the stadium. Dude, all you got to do is make sure you get to lot 9. Not lot 1 anymore because that's under construction, but lot 9. It's basically a big expanded field at this point. That's where the party is. People will be throwing down. The vibe there is excellent. Also, of course, make sure you hit Titletown. That area is really great. Although, sorry, guys, I'm not sure what the weather's supposed to be like on Thursday or next Thursday. But, yeah, and, like, just soak up the vibe, man. That lot 9 will be a lot of fun. Trust me. I wish you and Corey booing on Mike McCarthy, bud. I don't know what that means. But speaking of booing Mike McCarthy and Corey, make sure you tune into Transplants tonight. We'll be talking about Mike McCarthy's return to Lambeau Field and Corey's thoughts on the subject. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Maybe McCarthy will feel sorry for Aaron and let him win. That's hilarious. Thank you all for the live game streams. Provides a community for us who don't live near Packers fans. Jake, that's the whole reason we started doing it back in the pandemic. Like the whole idea that you couldn't get together with people anymore. You couldn't go to sports bars anymore. Like, okay, let's just hang out online. So thank you for saying that. Because I know it's hard when they're going through this losing streak week after week. You're like, get your hopes up, and then they play like garbage. But hey, we've got each other. And people can come and yell at me for being too mean to the quarterback. Brandon, hate it how Z is having such a great year and winning with the Vikings while Devontae and Rodgers are having crappy seasons without each other. Yeah, it's part of the NFL life, you know. I mean, Z's a really good player, and he's playing with a really good defense. And that certainly helps. Devontae, not so sure how good that offense is he's playing with, and we all know how bad the offense is that Rodgers is playing with. So, man, you know, I get why the Packers did what they did. And I get why Za'Darius wanted to play in Minnesota, and he's doing well. But don't ever forget, they're still the Vikings. They're still going to screw it up before they get to the Super Bowl. And just take solace in that fact. What else we got? If we could get what? If we could Voltron, Abram, and Savage into one safety, we could be in business. Yeah, I don't know. People keep asking about like, oh, is Abram a Savage replacement? I'm like, I don't know. Not if you watch him there in the Vegas defense. But who knows? Who knows? Hey, Nags, thanks for the daily taste. Odds Corey has a meltdown tonight. Corey's not going to have a meltdown. Corey's very zen. Very zen. I kid. No about 11. Go, Pack, go. Thanks for checking out the stream. Roger Sports Talk. Thank you for the super chat. Let's run 2010 back. Injured team, defense gets hot, make the run for the wild card, win on the road through the playoffs, make the Super Bowl. I'll get off Madden. You know, if they had won last week, I might have believed. But, man, I'm just going to have a good time hanging out with my friends watching the Packers for the rest of the season because, man, it is a long path to any kind of potential postseason run. Playoffs. I just hope they can win a game. Another game. To quote the great philosopher. Chris, Aaron Rodgers is done calling it. Man, that's bold coming off the horrific performance in Detroit. Really put yourself out there on that one. Brett, what's up, man? What is a little bit off topic, but I can see baseball games free on Facebook that people post, but why can't I see that for football games? Because the rights are exponentially more expensive for football games, and baseball has to give their streams away. They're dying for audience. Their fan share is dwindling by the year. I mean, look no further than this past World Series. I mean, did anyone care outside of Philadelphia or Houston? Precious few. They are dying for eyeballs. That's why. Ed, thanks for the super chat. At this point, there are moral victories, some within a game, some the game itself, and sometimes you win the damn game. They are still the Packers. Ed, I thought you were going all Rosie Perez in White Men Can't Jump there for a second. Sometimes when you lose, you really win. Nicholas, thanks for the super chat. Has this season changed your views on LaFleur? Not yet, Nicholas. Not yet. I think he's dealing with a lot, both that we can see and that we can't see. And I am very curious to see how the second half of the season goes. And I'm also very curious to see how he operates without Aaron Rodgers in the building. So, no, it hasn't changed my views. Brandon, thanks for the super chat. Guaranteed money in the NFL doesn't make sense. To please players, yes. Looking back, I would have offered guaranteed money for Adams, but injuries happen frequently. Big investment with guaranteed money, which is exactly why the Packers don't do it. You know, there are very, very few teams that have held on to that kind of way of working. Pittsburgh was actually one of them as well until the TJ Watt negotiation. They were very much like the Packers in the sense that they never guaranteed past the initial year. But then, you know, the Steelers caved and gave Watt that money. And now look, He's hurt. I hear you, Brandon. You're absolutely right. And that is why teams are loath to do it. But when it comes to superstars, traditionally, those are the guys that want to get paid and have a little more security. And as good as Adams is and was for the Packers, they just refuse to do it. Chris, thanks for the super chat. More blitz packages coming with Gary out. Yes, Chris, I would suspect not. He's not going to turn into Bob Slowick, thank God. At least I suspect not. But yeah, I think they have to get a little bit more creative, whether that's bringing guys off, from the second level, safety blitz, maybe a corner blitz. Maybe they get Walker a little bit more involved in the pressure packages, things of that nature. But yeah, I do not doubt for a moment that they will get a little bit more pressure heavy. Michael, thanks for the super chat. Hey, Nags, when you were saying in the offseason that it was time to turn the page, I didn't want to hear it, but deep down, I knew you were right. I mean, look, I would have loved nothing more than the Packers to come out 6 guns a-blazing, take the league by storm with their 4-time MVP, scoring 30 points a game. How do they do it? I don't know. They're just great. And I thought there was a path to do just that if they had played a different style of football. But they have wanted to play their way, and it has really cost them. But yeah, I mean, now they look like hangers-on with a $50 million albatross. Vex, thanks to the super chat. No moral victories when most of this team won't be around the next time we compete. I think that's an exaggeration. Most of the team? No, there'll be a lot of guys there. Yes, will there be moves? Every team is different every year, no doubt about it, but they still have a good core going. Tyler, thanks to the super chat. Is Kenny hurt? His play has seemed to have dipped the last couple of weeks, or am I completely dumb and wrong? You are not dumb and wrong. I talked about this, I believe, on Beer and Ball. Yeah, he's had a bit of a dip. He hasn't been as explosive. He hasn't been as disruptive these last couple of weeks, but as far as I can recall, and I'll look at it right now, but no, I don't. You talk about could it be injury related? He is not listed on the injury report, and I do not believe he has been for the past few weeks. So whatever's going on there, that has to turn around. No question about it. Trap game for the Cowboys on Sunday. No bot. I'd love to think that, but I don't think so, especially coming off a bye week. McCarthy's return to Lambeau. Hard to see it. Too old for this. Thanks to Super Chat. Is the reason you haven't gotten a dog yet because it's clearly not Rodgers under center? No, there's a long story there, but stay tuned. All right, everybody, I'm going to have to get going. Nagler's never right, so I hear. Well, I don't know what you're talking about. I got to get going. Thank you so much. Please, please, please tune into Transplant, 7 p.m. tonight. Corey and I talking about the tail spin that these Green Bay Packers are in, how they can get out of it. McCarthy's return to Lambeau, all things green and gold. It's going to be a lot of fun. Please, please, please do me a monster favor. Hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then tell your friends and tell your family. Cheesehead TV, we are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great night. Go Pack, go.